to the next instalment of Urban Bait TV, and I've got something a little bit special for you this time. We've travelled up to Northampton, to the Nene Valley, to meet Adam Garland, who's fished all around this area, around the Bedfordshire pits like Elstow as well, Urchester, and we're on a real nice special lake. I even managed to get my rods out last night as well, which is a bonus. But we're just trying to find out how Adam goes about his fishing, what he does, you know, the rigs he uses, how he uses the bait and how he introduces it, and what's just a little bit different. From speaking to him yesterday, first time I've met him properly, he does things slightly differently. He sort of learns from his fishing and the way he applies his bait and his rigs, and he watches the fish and all that, so it's really quite interesting. So how do you approach, say, like this lake, which is a little bit different to the norm? It's a little bit smaller, can be quite busy. There's a few fish in here, but they can be a little bit shy, and you're looking to sort of like nick one or nick two or three in your case.
Yeah, always looking to try and nick a couple of fish. The problem I have is time, because I run a car dealership, so I'm not able to do 2, 3, 4 days like some guys. So I'm on limited time. So what I try and do is maximise everything. And I try and sort of select areas. I spend a lot of time in the winter with a marker rod, or when it's quiet with a marker rod, find specific areas and just really target them. But I tend to find I like to fish all 3 rods on the same area, very close to each other.
That's a little bit sort of different to your norm, sort of like your normal angler. You have one spot on the left, one in the middle, one at the right, or you know, they might, if they can get away with it, fish 2 rods on one spot, which is a going spot. But I suppose you fishing 3 rods of the same rigs, all on there. So what's your sort of thinking behind that?
It started, as I say, when I first, just before I fished Elstow, but going on to Elstow, that is what they do. You're fishing deep water with shallow features, so it's the only place you can fish. And I suppose I just took it a step further and went on to other waters and carried it on. There's no point having, in my opinion, 3 sets of bait in the swim, because you want the fish on one spot, concentrating, feeding.
I put 3 rods on one spot, and what I tended to do was put all my bait on there, fish all the three rods on there, and if I got a bite, I wouldn't recast. I'd just leave the 2 rods out there fishing, because the way the fish in these specific lakes were moving, they were like a little shoal. So as soon as you put another rod out there, they think, oh right, that's it, we're off now. You know, we've been found out. And I tended to pick up another fish or another 2 fish like that, and leave that second rod in as well. I mean, is that how you sort of...
Yeah, definitely, exactly the same. Once you've had 3 fish, you tend to find they're a bit like bird life really. They come back, they're intrigued. You try and spook them off and you can't. If they want to be there, we were talking about yesterday, a session I had on here where the fish just wouldn't go. I needed to pack up. I didn't want anyone to see where the fish were, and they just wouldn't leave me alone. Once they get on it, they get on it. You just, as long as the mix is right and there's a variety of things in there that's going to keep them interested.
So I know you like fishing those 3 rods on the one spot. To me, it's like speaking to you. It's like no one else was doing it as well. So that's like that's sort of, you're doing opposite to what everyone else is doing, and you're being successful doing that. When everyone else is like picking up 1 fish, you'll have like 2 or 3 sort of thing, you know. And I know you've been with us for about a month now, using the different products, and you've mainly been fishing with the Nutcracker, haven't you? And you've been quite successful. You've had like 3 or 4 fish, haven't you? They've been real nice ones as well, nice common. So tell me a little bit about how you go about with your rigs. You know, what sort of materials do you use, or what, you know, is it long, short? What's your sort of take on it?
Always long. Always long.
When you say long,
10 inches is at the moment. If I'm using a coated braid, which I'm using at the minute, then I'll use 10 inches just because, and it's a soft one. It's a coated soft braid, so there's more flexibility, so I'll go shorter. But what I usually tend to use is a fluorocarbon combi rig, and I use 10 inches of fluoro, 2 inches of braid, and it just, I'm lucky in that I've been able to see fish feeding on it. And when I first started using it, I thought it, because it's the stiff section, I thought it'd fall sort of nice and straight, and it doesn't. It falls in it's like a C shape.
Really? Yeah.
So when they take it, obviously the C shape then sort of straightens out, and they're hanging themselves, and it just works so well.
You know, you're saying like use a coated braid. Why would you use a coated braid instead of, say, just a normal braided hook link? What's your... I can't risk a tangle. I'm not one for PVA. I've never done that well on bags, sort of adding a bag. It's just something I've never really done. I use a bit of foam every now and again, but I'm not a PVA person. And braided,
I just can't risk it. I can't. I'm only here for such a short time.
That's it, yeah. I mean, I suppose you're like most of the guys that are sort of watching this video, is like you get an overnighter, which you mostly fish, or you know, you might get a weekend every now and again where you can string 2 nights together, and you've got to be 100% sort of confident on you're banging them out. Sometimes in the dark,
yeah.
You know, that's 100% on I'm fishing to maximise your chances. That you know that type of thing. What sort of what size of hooks do you use? Let's have a look at one of your rigs.
So,
also I've noticed you've got 3 different colours that you're putting out there as well. What's your thinking behind the 3 different colour sort of snowman rigs with the barrels, with the nutcracker barrels there?
So I'll start with this one. So it's like the yellow.
Yeah. What size hooks are those using?
This is a size Nash Fang Twister.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're sharp hooks, aren't they?
Yeah, very.
They're sharp hooks. Yeah, I see you've got a little kicker on there as well.
Little kicker.
Which brings it round. And what you've got about an inch there distance. I suppose. Do you like shorter?
12 mil.
Or longer?
12 mil. Or what? Sorry, the strip
do you
back
measure
section.
it then?
Yeah, yeah.
So you're a little bit OCD with your rigs. Yeah.
A little bit OCD with
I noticed that when we turned up yesterday in the evening and got our rods out. I noticed that you're like very particular about getting on the spot. Right, it's got to be on there. Right, really, right, that's it. Right, that feels just right. Yeah. You know, get your marker rod out there, and all 3 rods. You was very particular about how you got them out, which is
I'm very good. OCD. Yeah.
But I mean, it's with. I mean, I use this quite a lot, but I use a washed out white one. I use like a little nutcracker barrel there, little 12 miller, the same as you, and I find it is like a proper snowman.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a round bait, 2 round baits, it's your barrel, and it looks like a little snowman like that. But and that's your coated braid, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's you know, that's quite a long hook link, isn't it?
10 inches.
Compared to what I
exactly
see. 10
inches.
So you measure that as well, do you? Right, okay.
That's 10 inches, that's 15 mil, and that's 10 mil.
It's a nice neat rig. It's all been properly sort of made and took time over it. It's like it's like the rest of your angling watching you. It's like attention to detail like that. But also so I'm thinking along those same sort of lines, is that with the bait and your mix and that's got to be just right as well.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how you use the nutcracker and what you do, what sizes you use. You know, if you add anything to it. So, you know, as we're sort of coming into winter now, I think it's the last day of summer today, and tomorrow's the first day of autumn. What do you mix it up with some particle as well? And
so the idea is, you bring everything to the party, bream, tench, everything, get everything feeding. What I do.
So you're hoping sort of to attract the carp in as well at the same time. So if they're seeing other fish feeding, it's that competition thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, competition for feeding. I mean, this lake's crystal clear.
Yeah,
crystal clear.
I noticed that. It really is clear, isn't it?
You can see your hook on the bottom in 10 foot of water. It's really clear, and you want it clouded up. So this is the Blitz from Hooked on Baits. Lots of little bits of nut in there.
It's one I use myself actually. Yeah.
It's lovely, isn't it? I
know it's very milky as well. Isn't it? It milks up.
Milky cloud.
So what I tend to do as well is I add some of the liver cracker powder.
Yeah.
I already marinate my nutcracker, and then what I do is I put a few spoonfuls of the liver cracker powder in with the particle as well. And it gives it even more of a tractor and a boost. But it coming into the colder months, I just love liver. I just always have liver in my bait or in the mix or anything like that.
Yeah, at the moment it's sort of the Blitz. I mix it with pellet at the moment. I like the salmon fry crumb. Really like the salmon fry crumb.
So do you continue with the salmon fry crumb in the colder months, or do you take that out?
I do, but I cut it right down.
Yeah.
I cut it right down. Just there's too much oil. But yeah, I cut it right down. As I say, luckily I got a pot of that yesterday, so I'm going to be giving that a go soon.
Yeah.
But I tend to crush up the 14 mil nutcrackers in there, halves, quarters, everything. Just as much. I just want to carpet of food out there, really.
All different sizes.
Yeah, all different sizes.
Do you use like the 18 mil nutcracker as well, just to give it a little bit of a?
I haven't yet.
Different size.
I haven't yet. No, I've used the 14s, but I've used some whole, some half, some chops, some crumb, just as many different bits as I can, and it's spread so far. I mean, just a couple of spoms, and it's a real nice carpet.
Yeah. And what sort of? I know you showed me the hook base. You've got the 3 colours there.
Yeah.
Look at those again. So would you fish that like? You fish those over the top of that, or to the side of them, or bang in them, or
over the top. I usually stagger them. usually stagger them, because when you're spodding or spomming, you can't say whether, if the wind's going, whether the undertow, where the bait's going to go. So I tend to put one at say 60 yards, one at 62 yards, one at 64 yards, just so you're covering the whole area.
Covering a bit of area around the
covering a bit of area.
Around the spotted area. And with the, I mean, would you use sort of instead of the barrel, would you use a 14mm bottom bait?
Yeah,
or
I have
an
done.
18 with it? Have you found any difference, or is it just that it's they want to get on the nutcracker?
Yeah, they want to get on the nutcracker, that's it. I've used the 14mm hard hook baits.
Yeah.
That's what I started on. I did really well on them. They were good. This the same. To be honest, if it isn't broke, I'm not going to try and fix it.
Yeah.
I haven't got time to come down and do 2 or 3 days of trying something out. That works. It's such a mouthful for them to get in their mouth once they do, bobbling about. It's
I found that's why I use the barrels. You know, I don't use the round ones. I use like a normal snowman. I use the barrels. But it's a different shape as well, which I find puts them off guard a little bit, because they're used to seeing round balls everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like they're more likely to take it. And plus, where which I know you're going to give a go as well, is when I marinate the hook baits for like probably a week or so. I'll just keep them in there for ages and just pick them out and re-marinate and that sort of thing. And they definitely home in on those marinated nutcracker hook baits, you know. And I do it with my free offerings as well. Even with the chopped up ones, I'll put some of the liver cracker powder in, and as it gets colder, I found it really works, the old liver and that. But it's so you have 3 different colours, and would you sort of if you get a couple of bites on the pink, change all 3 to pink, or
it just depends.
What's your thinking on that?
I will sometimes. Again, I'm not. If I was doing a couple of days and it was really out fishing it, but I wouldn't do it just straight away. Yeah. Because like the first fish I had when I came on board, that's a lovely 35 pounder. Yeah. It's a rarely caught fish. He come from the left side of the spot. Yeah. The chances are that's probably where the bait went with the wind drift. Yeah. He happened to come on a white. There was a pink next to it that didn't go. It was the only bite I had. It could be the colour. It could not be.
It might have just been, as you say, it was interesting to say with the undertow and that. Yeah. The bait might have all sort of landed up around that one rather than the pink one or whatever. And you know, so it might not necessarily be the colour. It might be how you're baiting. There's something to really think about when you've got a wind or an undertow, is where you're spotting your mix, or even sticking out your boilies, because they move quite a bit, don't they?
Move a lot,
depending on what the lake's doing. It's but how will as it gets colder, how will your approach change? Will you sort of scale down, or will you just stick with what works?
I won't scale down. I certainly won't go any shorter than 10 inches. I've tried in the past and it just doesn't work for me. 10 inches is the shortest. I will. The only way I'll really change is, at the moment I get here, I don't know where I'm going to be fishing, so I've cut the bait down a little bit already. But as it gets colder, I'll be sort of trying to pre-bait a bit more. So get the bait in a couple of days before, making the trip at sort of 10 at night, 11 at night, whatever I have to do. And then, because again the sessions it'll be dark most of the time I'm here. So
it does in the winter when it gets colder and that as well. I mean, it's interesting you say that, you're sort of pre-bait and get a little bit of bait in there. It's one thing I like about the nutcracker, and one thing I do with every bait I've ever used in the winter, is I want something that's digestible. I want it to go through them. So when you're sort of pre-baiting, as you're going to for like a couple of days before, is they're going to eat, it's going to go through them. They're not going to be all stodged up and not want to eat when I get there. So it's interesting to say that you put a little bit of the particle mix out as well, and some boilies, and it's digestible when it goes through them. And I can see that really working. You know, you'll get there on your overnight in the dark, ping them out, single hook baits or just a little bit of mix around them or whatever, and then you'll get action like that. You know, I mean, I know it's worked for you in the past like that.
Yeah, it certainly has.
Winter. It's that little bit of attention to detail, having the confidence in the bait that you're using, the mix, and it's digestible and all that type of stuff. And then just like, even with the short amount of time, it's the confidence, so you got a chance, haven't you? Rather than sort of just putting it anywhere and doing no preparation, and you know. So I mean, that's quite. It does seem that you're very sort of, everything's got to be right, and you're really thinking about your angling and the way you're going. So it'd be really good to catch up in, say, a month's time, or when it gets a bit cold, and see what you're doing, whether it's on this lake that you're fishing, or if we're going to sort of more of a runs water as it gets cold. And that'd be, you know, it'd be good to meet up and do a sort of little diary piece over the winter.
Yeah, definitely.
See if your rigs change or how you go. But sometimes it does change, doesn't it? Where you might have to move to another water or
Yeah.
something like that. So it's yeah, it'd be good to meet up with you again,
Yeah.
and we'll do some more. We'll do some tips and liquids and things like that, and it'd be good to meet up with you again, Adam. And,
Yeah,
and
brilliant.
do a little series of videos and that to help the guys and with their winter fishing and that as
Yeah.
well. So yeah, we look forward to it, and thanks for inviting me up to a beautiful lake and showing us a little insight, a little tease, a little taster of how you go about your fishing.
Yeah, brilliant. Anytime.
Yeah, it'd be good.
What you call it? Urban.